Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the third episode of Sweatpants Strategy. I'm Dana Hirschkowitz of the Dana Company. The Dana Company is an executive search firm that places top talent with lenders across the country. This week, we are actually coming off of an election week and the big NAGLE conference from Vegas. I was really excited to see, old friends, new friends, talking about the challenges and the struggles of SBA, which is actually the reason why I started this podcast, talk about all aspects of SBA. Let's loosen up our sweatpants and dive into this week's topic. I'm really excited to have Ali and Stephanie Schwandt. Stephanie is a great friend. She's been in the industry for 35 years. She's seen it ever changing, which we'll dive into in a little bit. She's a member of the Flagel board, and as of recently, she's been a co-chair. I'm also happy to have Ali, Stephanie's daughter, on the show. Ali watched her mom over the years champion small business owners, which actually made her join the SBA in 2019. Ali holds a special place in my heart. I placed her over 2 years ago with one of my favorite clients, Colony Bank. They definitely hire the best of the best and look forward to actually people from Colony Bank in future episodes. So let's get started. I'd like to welcome Stephanie and Ali Schwandt. Hey guys, welcome Steph. Hey Steph, hey Ali.
Hey girl, good to see you.
My podcast, third episode, really excited.
Super excited for you. I can't wait.
I know. So today we're going to talk about Steph, you and Ali, your daughter, different changes within the SBA industry. So we're going to kick it off. So Steph, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Been in the industry for 35 years.
Yes, ma'am.
It's ever changing.
Ever changing. Every year it changes.
What was it like when you started?
Oh, wow. So when I first started, honestly, it was so different than now. We would get, because I always worked for national lenders, not necessarily lenders that were local to you. I literally had paper. I had the FedEx guy coming to my house every day because the files were paper. And that's what was really hard on the borrower too. We didn't have Zoom. We didn't have Teams. You couldn't help them fill out an application, Now we can literally put them on a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting and help them fill out the application, explain to them what the different boxes mean. Oh, plus the paperwork. It was, people complain about the paperwork now, but try it 35 years ago. It was 3 times as much. I swear it was. A lot of different paperwork, and the borrowers themselves too. They didn't have like internet searches that they have today to find all the SBA lenders that they want, right?
Oh shoot! So how would they? Yeah, what, Steph? Take us through. Back. We're going back a little. Take us through the process of how you actually find people.
It was much harder back then. Brokers were still a thing, were very much a thing, but not like they are today. Like today, they're out there and marketing every day too. So back then, they didn't have a way to market either. So they either made friends with their local bankers and got their turndowns, or they would go into industry specifics and work with the industries. And that's the way we did it as well. We had to go to industry specific trade shows, like a specific type of doctor trade show, just to meet those type of doctors or veterinarians or hairdressers trade shows. You literally had to go there to find the clients because you didn't have like you have it now. It's so much better. The amount of information that's out there today is so crazy, and so it makes our life so much easier, right? Because they come to us knowing what an SBA loan is. Back in when I started, they would be like, well, I don't even know what an SBA loan is. What does that mean? And it's exciting now when people come to us, they actually have an idea of what the product is that we're going to be offering them. So different now.
Well, actually, so talking about that, how do you know, a borrower comes to you? So how do you educate them on actually what product is going to be fitting, kind of what their needs are?
Honestly, we're blessed that we work together every day,
Yeah.
right? Because we both work for separate banks. But literally, before we had this, we were when we were working with borrowers. Before we got lucky to work for two different banks that do two different product types. You would have to make friends with all of your competitors. That's why I think part of why SBA is such a tight knit community, because we all make friends with our friends,
Yeah.
people at another SBA department, because they can do something you can't do. And we didn't have that luxury when I first started. You didn't get to know the people, the other competitors as well as you do today, you know? And that, so nowadays, when somebody comes to us and they go, I need a loan for $250,000, I'll immediately go, oh no,
Oh no, there you go. There's Billy.
because that's what she does. And that's what she specializes in, under 500,000,
Right. And
And
actually,
so that's the big difference, I think, between we would have to educate borrowers so much more on the front side back in the day, and now they come to us so well educated.
yeah, well, I think, well, last week's episode, we both know Lindsay.
Yes,
Lindsay,
I love Wincy.
actually, she took us through, A to B, open close. And for me, that was super beneficial because
Oh yeah,
I'm learning as I go. And we go to the different conferences, we learn, and I met you at the Flagel conference, and it's almost like going to a class reunion
right.
where
And we have that where
and
you get to meet the other lenders and you sit down with them, and even when we're learning new things from SBA, we get to meet new people. And especially we're luckier too, because we get both go meet different people and then we come back and introduce each other.
Yeah, we can meet people and we talk about like their different loan scenarios that what they had, or like if we haven't ran across that, or sometimes there's a lot of guidance people like reach out to the SBA to get further clarification on. So when we get to hear about like the strange, unique loans that other people went through, it's good for us to know if we encounter those things as well, and we can say, oh, I know so and so did this. We can, we need to do X, Y, and Z. So we kind of help educate each other too in a weird way as well, like based off of different things we've done.
well, also, let's go back for a second because all right, so Steph, you're working for Milestone Bank,
Correct. I'm on BDO for Milestone Bank.
senior BDO,
Senior BDO.
and so you work and Allie, obviously Colony Bank. Like I mentioned in the intro, I'm like, we're so lucky to have you. Like we placed you because Steph, we were on the phone. Colony came up with a position, and just coincidentally, like Allie, you hit it. And in my intro, I said they hire like the best of the best. Their hiring process is, I don't know, like 20 million years. But they also look at like personality and, fit. And that's another thing, that's come a really long way. I mean, Steph, at your bank, there's like a diversity in, definitely in BDOs and what
Totally. I mean, every BDO, and it's funny, even in your own bank, you'll specialize in something. Like there's one guy at my bank right now who does just a lot of daycares and convenience stores. Odd combination, right? But that's his
because bread and butter.
he does a lot of daycares and a lot of convenience stores, gas stations. And I find that such an incredible, I'm a generalist. Okay. So I don't have like a niche really that much, other than I do a lot of car washes, but it's not really a niche. It's just, it happens to come to me. I'm a generalist.
Like a general ledger, right?
People who are truly into one specific, like franchising or doctor loans, or and it really depends on who your bank is too, and what their tolerance is.
Yeah, what their credit box is. I mean, it does work for you guys because, Allie, you're in that 500 and under space and you guys network together. And I know sometimes when, Steph, you can't do a loan, you give it to Lindsay. So it's basically everybody working together and, you guys you're fortunate. I wish my daughter would work with me. She doesn't even acknowledge me.
Oh, well, that's because of our
At
age.
your age.
I
never
know.
thought
How was your day?
originally I was
Good.
working with my mom. I was often doing my own thing, and it wasn't until after I graduated college and I just kind of found myself into the job I was in. I was doing well at, but I didn't like it. And so she was like, "Hey, I've always done this, and I've enjoyed it, and I kind of grew up watching her do it. So I
Yeah.
was like, well, I do know it really well. I've
Yeah.
been hearing
Makes
it my
sense.
whole life every day on my way to cheerleading practice. Mom was still answering phone calls, picking me up from school, so I heard it my whole life. So I was like, okay, let's see. And I started off actually for working with one of her brokers. And then I realized this is something I like. I like this industry. I want to learn more about it and got into it. So you never know. Mine wasn't until I was in my early 20s that I decided this is
I mean,
what I do want to take.
but really quick, did you help your mom like growing up? Because sometimes, my daughter Ella.
That's the very beginning with Stephanie. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to.
Go ahead.
When I was talking about all of the paperwork, they were so much shredding. The shredding was constantly going off the top. And sometimes I would get a little extra, allowance if I help shred.
That's awesome.
Or the filing of the paperwork. They're sending the packages to the SBA. I remember growing up, my mom being like, I wanted to hang out with her all the time. So I was
Really?
like,
Wait, how old are you?
file paper, like just color coordinate. She'd be like this form, then this form. So she'd show me like what it looks like. And I'm not reading this. Like I don't even understand what's going on. I'm a kid. So I'm like, okay, color coordinate, blah, 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 blah. And I would help. We'll put those together again. Hopefully, if we'll find out if we need to cut that.
Well, at least you wanted to hang out with her. I mean, I don't even see where's my kid. Where's my kid? I have no idea.
When she started at age 5, no lie. Okay, she was not in kindergarten yet, so it was before she could go to kindergarten. I always worked at home, so I know a lot of people now work from home, but I didn't. I did from way before she was born.
People didn't really understand about working from home. They didn't understand a bank working from home until COVID. And now everybody understands. But even just when I first started, people were it wasn't a normal thing.
It was kind of like iffy.
I always worked from home, so I literally had left to go to the bathroom one day, and we didn't have cell phones like we do now. We didn't use them like we did. I had a desk phone, so I went to the restroom. She was working on her Fisher Price desk next to mine, coloring. She went and answered my phone, said the name of the company just like I do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she said her name, and it was the president of the bank I worked for. And he goes, sorry, would you please tell her that Charles called? And she said, I'm so sorry. I'm only 4 years old. I can't write yet. You'll have to call back. He was shocked. He had no idea. He called me later and told me this. I was so embarrassed, but he loved it. He goes, I thought she was your receptionist.
I mean,
the way she answered the phone.
Well, I mean, like, look at your relationship is like, no, I see it. But Allie, you had Silas, what, a year and a half ago?
He's 13 months, almost 14 months.
Right. So, and then Stephanie, you had your 2 kids. So
4.
Oh my God. So, all right. So working, in our industry, how do you feel, being a woman where in a mostly male dominated for both of you? I mean, think about it, Steph, back in
the day, there was not many women. To be honest with you, I was one of the few women in the industry, in the banking, with a title. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because we were generally in the front being receptionists or answering the phone or the secretaries is what we were called in those days, but there were no other women vice presidents or, you know what I'm saying? And I was one. I was actually head of credit for one bank for a while. So when coming in as an officer in a bank was very different in those days. We wore suits every day. We wore pantyhose every day.
Yeah,
we had to wear, swirlers of makeup. It was in our employee handbook. What color suits we could wear. We could not wear pants. We had to wear dresses, skirts.
Seriously?
Oh yes, ma'am.
Are you sure? Really?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
That's
I wish I
crazy.
had that handbook. We had to wear certain colors of makeup. We were not allowed to vary from those colors
Wow.
because they didn't want you to have bright colors on.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
It was very different when I started. And so now to the progression, it's just wonderful. And there are a good 50% women now, right? Don't you
A
say?
decent amount, yeah. No.
I mean,
40.
and then, well, I mean, on our first episode, Stephanie Dunn.
I love Stephanie Dunn.
Me too.
She's my favorite.
Me too. And I'm really happy, like, of all the guests. And this is especially for me because, you are a mother and daughter. And I don't know, I would hope that I have that relationship that I see in front of me. So, but I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, so she said being a woman in our industry, you always have to always be a step forward.
Oh, yes.
And so we can never have a bad day.
I think it's still like that.
I think it's still like that because then they call you another word, and that isn't nice. But
Yeah, no.
and the pay hasn't caught up. There are many places you've worked.
Yeah. I've worked at places where they do like company meetups, and then involved in that, sometimes people decide to drink and talk too much. And a male coworker of mine who had less production than me, same title as me, decided to tell my assistant how much he made.
Nice.
He came and
Awesome.
told me, and I was like, "Wow, that's kind of funny." Because I close a lot more and I have the same title and I don't make that much.
Yeah,
It's still out there.
But that is not a colony bank. Let's just,
No.
Okay, just put it out there. No.
Not at all. I love my colony family.
Yeah, you love yeah, Darren.
No, there's still banks out there who are great and great banks to work for and stuff. But I don't think it's as bad as whenever Stephanie started at all. But unfortunately, I'm saying there's still a little bit of bad eggs out there.
There's 100%. Right. You go to these, like the Nagel and the Flag, all these conferences, and then, I hate to say it, at the end of the night when people are a little loopy, you hear things, and it's unfortunate that it's coming out in that way. So trying to get women caught up, in our pay range, in, just and having them more present is kind of like one of the things I really wanted to do with this podcast, but also challenge professionals like, hey, let's have Stephanie on and let's have a male BDO on and see the differences between sales. What do you see the most, or what do your customers look like? But that's, again, a future episode, and it also rolls into Allie, where do you, or what have you seen since working for Colony in that 500 and under space? Ever since PPP, it's been right. But tell me, what do you see from 2 years is a big difference from the PPP and now. Allie, what do you see that's different?
I think in the industry, I see people tightening down on credit a little bit in the smaller industry, just because. And I've been, for working for smaller banks for a while now. And so I think at first when people were getting into the small sector, they were like, okay, maybe we just have to SBA score it. And then people were having to go back and reflect upon, okay, what is our default rates? And again, I'm not speaking of Colony Bank. I've worked small loans before I went over there. So what I've seen now in the industry is that they're doing different programs, and they're kind of, I guess, tightening their credit box a little bit more, or looking at things a little bit differently. And I think lending to a little bit less startups that I've seen in my smaller sector. But I've still seen a lot of need for working capital, and I've seen that's my primary thing that I see. And sometimes run into like the debt refinances too as well, thrown in with some working capital just so they can get back on the right track. Because they had a very immediate need. They made maybe a bad decision or a quick decision, and that's just what they had to do, and they would like to refinance some of that higher interest debt.
It makes sense. I mean, between the two of you, I guess my next question would be, Allie, what does your typical borrower look like? And Steph, what does your borrower look like?
So I've got two programs that I work right now. So I guess I'll say kind of like what they are differently, because
yes. Actually, educate me.
There's
you do that? I placed you there that I don't know what you do.
have one that's just for like working capital. That's 150 to 350,000, but they have to be in business for at least 2 years, and they can't have any tax payment plans, and no arrest history except for minor traffic violations. So that's my average borrower because they have to meet those knockouts. The loan size goes, like I said, from 150 to 350,000. I'm seeing a typical average of about 250 with that one. And then and they're people, again, like they've been in business for about 2 years. They just want some more working capital. Mainly, I've seen for payroll and marketing because they want to try to revamp up sales, and also because they're trying to adjust from the increases of everything.
The interest rate.
Yes. And then I've also, on the other program we have is called Thrive, and that's 150 to 500,000, and it's not like a normal SBA 7A loan. It's where we can do mixed uses. We can do purchases of commercial real estate, rent rates, replacement, working capital, equipment. Some startups, we have like a select group of startups that we do. So that one I mainly run into. I get like purchase of equipment and debt refinance and some working capital. We did just come out with like a new rent replacement under $500,000 program that I'm going to try to market and see some more of that. But we've just been adjusting it lately. So I have a feeling that will be coming because I think it's a great product for people who have been historically renting and they want to purchase commercial real estate. We can help them do that with them just having to cover the closing cost and not even do 10% down. So I'm excited to market that, and I feel like I'll see a lot of those. But right now in the Thrive program, I mainly just see purchasing equipment with a little bit of working capital and some debt refi. And then the other program is just an average loan about $250,000 working capital, primarily for marketing and hiring.
And there are such a need.
Wait, she's so cute.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so happy that you guys are on my show. Steph, you look absolutely stunning. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. I'm feeling very old today, but that's okay.
Sorry.
But my program, I see more people that are expanding. That's probably the majority, either starting up or expanding. We do a lot of franchise lending at my bank.
Okay.
The larger franchises, not the smaller ones, not as much the small ones. Obviously, she does those more. I do the larger ones, and I think our average loan size is probably around 2.5 million. Because when you're expanding, and especially if you're expanding, even with leasehold improvements today, the construction costs have gone up so much.
Yes, they have gone up. Yes.
And we do construction extremely well at my bank. I mean, don't get me wrong, we love business acquisitions, the rest of it too, but it's something we do really well. And so I have to say that I see a lot of those because they're the ones that I feel the most confident in getting done. Does that make sense?
Is there anything that your milestone, like what do they stay away from?
We have one industry we stay away from, that's trucking. Really? And that's because we were owned by Lease Corp before. That was our name before. We're the same company. We just changed our name to Milestone Bank. And they did a lot of leasing to a lot of trucking industry.
Got it.
That didn't
go well.
Yeah. So they're like, please don't do trucking.
Do you see ever since PPP, do you see more default, or are people coming back and evening themselves out?
Yeah. We honestly thought there was going to be a lot of default with the interest rate rising. When the interest rates all went up.
Absolutely.
In the last few years. We only anticipated a lot of defaults, but I didn't actually see a lot. Did you?
I mean, I think I also, been somewhere else within the last 2 years, but I haven't, at least, and Colony too, we try to work with our customers, try to be proactive. I think having a really good servicing team is essential to that, and being proactive of making sure our borrowers are okay before they get to the point where they're defaulting. So I think Colony does a great job at that. So I know, unfortunately everybody does have loans at default. Like, we're not perfect. We don't have a zero default rate, but I don't think I see it as much as we anticipated.
Yeah, it's not like we anticipated.
Well, Adelie, you came in, she came in on or actually as the pandemic, right? As the pandemic was
happening. I think I started for a first bank. So not working for a broker, but working for about a bank to officially SBA and as in the banking world in 2019.
Okay. And then
So kind of like right as it was going on.
being at Colony, over the last 2 years, same question. Have you basically seen, from the PPP process, people defaulting? How is the portfolio?
Yeah, that's kind of not in our realm.
Yeah,
We don't, but I haven't seen a lot of defaults.
I
don't
look
know
at
if you have.
no, I look at our default rate that the default list they send out, and I just check to see if there's any of my loans.
Fair.
To that before the call, but that's honestly, I'm just like, okay, well, because normally I typically know before that's happening, or even in our default stuff, they'll start kind of give us a heads up of, hey, this person's late too. It's not just a default list; it's a late pay list that they give us. So I just make sure that it's none of my people, and if there's anything I can do to be helpful, to make sure that it just goes from late pay to current instead of late pay to default.
No, super
Sarah,
fair.
I haven't had any of mine. Knock on wood.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah,
If you did, like,
So
I mean,
I
I'm
haven't really paid too much attention, but I know that the list doesn't look terribly long. Like it's not like I open it and I'm like, oh goodness, this is terrible. So I don't think it's bad. But
no, it's all, I mean, I think things are improving, and especially though, but with the rates being as high as they are, how do you guys position yourselves in making sure, hey, SBA is the right way to go?
that really depends. That really depends on how when you get the borrower's information and you look at their cash flow and you look at their personal financial statement and you look at the whole picture, the whole global, right? You look at it and go, is SBA the right product? I will tell a person when they are not the right I mean, we're not going for the right products here. Like they would do better with a 504 because we do 7As, right? Mainly. So if we see that they would do a 504 better, we'll literally tell them, look, you're a better candidate for a 504. Here's some great lenders that are our friends in 504. And the same with conventional. Like if I see a loan that looks like it's going to be conventional, could be a conventional loan, I'll let the borrower know right away that you may not need an SBA loan, but here's what the good parts are of an SBA loan, and here's what I can offer you. But here's what you'll probably see if you go conventional. You'll have to put more money down, but your rate will be lower. And it looks like you got plenty of cash and you would want to do that. It really depends on the borrower.
I was going to say the way I view it is it depends on the borrower. And honestly, I'm not here to sell them anything that they didn't want, that they came here for. I'm not going to harass you. I'm not that type of person. I don't like those, like, I don't like to be bothered that way. So I'm not going to bother my customers that way. I respect their, privacy and space. And I just want to help them. So what I let them know and what I think is the best part of our product is that typically it's on a 10-year loan with no prepayment penalty. Mm-hmm. Or if you're doing commercial real estate, it's on a 25-year loan, but you only have a 3-year prepayment penalty. So you're not stuck with us forever is the best way I put it. You can refinance when you're in a better position, like especially if you're a newer business or if you're a business acquisition, then in a few years, maybe you might be able to find something out there that's a fixed rate that I can't offer or something else. And I always say, if you think you can find something else, here's what I can do. Here's what I think can be helpful. Go look at it. And you can call me back with any questions you have as you talk to other vendors. And I'll let you know if that sounds like I've never heard that before. That sounds a little strange. Or if, I don't know, that's not my sector. Or if, yeah, that's normal. There is an SBA guarantee fee on loans over $1 million, stuff like that. So I just try the best I can to educate them and let them know, like, hey, you're not stuck with us, but also you're partnering with us. So you want to choose who you're going to borrow money from based off of a relationship. One, so do you like me? Are we working well together? If not, then I don't want you to be, miserable.
No, that's what.
And then also that you're not stuck with us. You can refinance. And there's not really that hard of prepayment penalties with the SBA 7A product.
Well, that's what makes you guys.
They will be our customer for the next 10 to 25 years. So we'd like to make sure they understand that you will be my personal customer, and here's my cell phone number.
Yeah,
I'm available anytime for you. That's part of what we offer.
That's exactly what makes both of you so different. I mean, from definitely last week we had Lindsay on, and my hairdresser, she said she mentioned like 16 lenders until she got a And so,
And that's just unfortunate that it happens to a lot of people. They don't go, even with today's Googling, people go to the wrong place. But if you Google, and then you look it up or you do LinkedIn or any of those, you can really find some great lenders out there. And you don't have to be stuck with your local branch of a bank. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not always the SBA expert. And that's the problem. You need to be with an SBA expert.
Going through her story and the 16 people, the person that she was matched up with, she had a business acquisition deal. I think she mentioned it was over 90 days. And, definitely like Lindsay took us through the process. But what I was saying, what makes, you guys different is exactly kind of like what you said, where we are your partner. And Allie, touching upon what you said, you're not stuck with us. Or, you refer people, small business people, to like the appropriate person. So I think in today's world, from a recruiting perspective, you guys are like a dream team.
Yeah, we try. I mean, we also just know that, my grandfather was a small business owner, and so was my grandmother. So we understand that these are people who they're real people just like us, that this is their livelihood. So it's important that they're matched with somebody that's great. And if I can't help, I'll do my best if I think of a friend's bank, or I'll say like, hey, I can make some phone calls. I'm not going to give them any of your personal information. Just run your scenario past them and see if they can help out. It might lead to you having a couple different phone calls, but maybe hopefully you'll finally find someone. So, and I think another reason I do that is because one, I want to genuinely help that person.
Right.
Okay. And then there's also the little bit of selfish aspect, because let's be honest, I have to make money myself. I hope that if I help that person will remember me, and that they will either one day be able to work with me and I can help them, or if they have a friend, then they can, refer them over to me, or by me referring friends. I'm a lot of I believe in things, coming back in karma. So if I do a good thing forward, it's kind of, there's a little maybe selfish aspect, but it's mainly to just help the person. But it's also just good to do for you to be able to make sure your name looks good and out there.
Absolutely.
So it's also helping. It's not just helping someone else.
Well, I mean, also too, like when you're talking about, yes, you want to help people and, bringing it out to small business owners like Steph, actually, talk. What are the couple of key points that you say to the small business owners?
Honestly, we go through their scenario and we try to find them what's most helpful to them. Like, what is the most of their need? What is their need? So I find that's the biggest issue is they come to us and go, I need to buy inventory. Okay. So let's talk about your plans. I'd like to get from them what their goals are, what their dreams are, right?
Right.
Because maybe we can do more than just the inventory you're talking about. Maybe we can help you buy that other piece of equipment that's going to increase your business. Maybe we can refinance the debt you have that's on higher payments and lower your payments so you have more cash flow on a monthly basis. So I like to get from them their whole, what they're trying to accomplish, not what they're just requesting of us. I think that's my number one question of the borrowers when I first meet them is, okay, tell me your story and talk to me about what your whole project is. What's your dream? Where are you trying to go with this business? I think for me, that's the most
first thing that we talk
That's the first thing that we do. And we both do that because you never know if you can help them more than what they're asking for. And you want to help them because you want them to succeed.
You want them to succeed, and of course you do. And well, it sounds like not only are you guys, you're more than BDOs, and you're their partner.
Correct.
You're their therapist.
Sometimes.
I mean, and definitely like so many, so much more, because you have to be available and you're everything to this person to see their dreams succeed.
Exactly. And you want to fulfill that like you would want somebody to have done it for you.
Yeah.
To be completely honest with you, my father, when I was in high school, my parents owned their own small business, like she said, right? And my father couldn't find capital for his small business. So he went and got venture capital money.
Huh.
Okay. When I was in high school, the
Okay.
venture capitalist stole his company from him. Okay. And
Okay.
left my father with just the debts and stole
Wow.
his company. Long story to it. Okay. But that's the crux of it. It hurt my father so greatly that it was a passion of mine from high school to become a small business lender. I went to college to become a commercial loan officer to help people get small businesses have access to capital. I didn't even know the SBA was a thing. Okay. I just knew I wanted to help the small businesses. So for me, it's a passion.
Yeah.
And I think I've pushed that passion. I didn't mean to, but I've fueled her passion for it as well. You know,
when you have a story like that, you feel it. And you know what, honestly, there's no faking it. And
no,
there's people out there, I don't know if I want to mention, but in our industry that just want the sale.
they just want the money.
Yeah.
Right. And so, they do their thing, but honestly, again, what separates you guys is that story. And so how you relate it to other people is I could say that's what makes you successful. Because one of my questions was, well, what makes you successful? But you see it. And in telling that piece of the story, Steph, you could see like how heartfelt and how, unfortunately what your father went through. It just
And my grandparents have been small business owners, and my uncles have been small business owners. So it's not that we didn't know that there was a hard time getting an access to capital. It's just how hard it was in the late 70s, early 80s to get capital for small businesses. The SBA wasn't as big as it is now.
Yes. I mean, it's like ever changing.
Ever changing. And thank goodness, like that's the best part. So when you ask me what the difference is today, there's so much more access to capital for small businesses. And I feel like the SBA has done such a great job. I mean, of course, we're ever changing, right? We're always striving to be better. So there is some redundant paperwork, okay, with SBA
Right.
still, we're not going to lie about that. But the amount of paperwork that's gone down and the amount what we can do to help people has increased so much. Like it's invigorating every day. I wake up excited to come to work and help people because I know I can. I know we have the tools to do it. And that's probably the best feeling, is to love your job, right?
You have to love your job. If you love your job, you definitely succeed. And then, like you said, the SBA is ever changing.
Oh, it's changing
So,
every day.
and I guess my next question would be, being the expert in the SBA, what's the one thing you would like to see changed?
I think there's some redundancy in the new SOP that makes some things very vague. Some lenders are taking it to the extreme, and
Yeah.
I would like them to clarify their rules on certain issues. If there's a few issues, I won't bring them up, but there's a few issues that it would be really nice if SBA, and they know those are issues, they just need to specify how they want us to actually act on them. I mean, they'll tell us at Nagel, and they'll tell us at Flegel, and they'll tell us, but they haven't actually changed the rules, so other lenders are still doing what there's not, the rules that are not there. They're going ahead and saying,
Doing anyway?
do it.
Yeah.
So how do you get that? I mean, yes, they'll tell that to you. So how do you get the answer? How do you order them and say, what is this?
But they also said that just because that you get an answer from SBA 7A
questions
doesn't mean that it fixes your guarantee. They've said that too.
So you need to be really cautious as a lender, not to go down those
Roads.
rabbit holes or those fine lines that are being blurred right now.
Yeah.
That is the that is the key for an SBA lender to keep their portfolio clean, and to not have problems later with audits. It's to keep your portfolio clean, make sure you're following the rules as the SBA intended them.
Well,
I think that's my biggest pet peeve at the moment, because the new SOP that came out a year ago was very vague in certain parts.
and it's still, do you think that, okay, so then maybe this question, with things changing, the new year, the SOP will still probably change a couple of times.
Oh, for sure.
What do you foresee the changes, let's say, in the next 3 to 6 months?
Well, I don't think there'll be much in the next 3 to 6 months. I think it'll be after 6 months. It takes them forever to do anything. But I think by the end of next year, you'll see some changes. And I think they'll be to the positive because of the administration that just won. They're very
actually, can I touch upon
very
that for a sec?
pro-business. They're very
Right.
pro-business. So
Yeah.
I think we're going to see some really nice changes in the coming year or two. But who knows when they're actually going to get it accomplished, because that's a lot of legal jargon that SOP is. And to make changes to it is very difficult and time consuming.
I think you can make sure to it's going to be a change. Like, okay, do we really need to change this? Do we not? Can we change more than one thing at a time to not ask to go back into it too many times? Because also it confuses us lenders if they keep rolling out changes and it's like, oh, I'm using this old one. So they also, I think, kind of want to not do it too many times and kind of, it might take them a few months to figure out, okay, maybe it's more than one change we need to do, and give it some time before they actually adjust it. So that way they're not sending stuff out too frequently.
Well, do you think
I have seen an uptick in this week just since the election in applications? I think people look more favorable or promising in the future, or small business owners do. I'm not saying Americans, because I get it. It was very, very divided.
Yeah.
But for small business owners, the majority, all that I had spoken to, were for the side that won. So because of the way the tax burdens in our law are, for small business owners, I think they were pro the new president, because they feel like they're going to have less of tax liabilities and more promise to make more, to do better, to do even better.
Have it champion more than it has been in the past 4 years.
And we had a prime cut last night, which was lovely.
So the rates are going down.
Yeah, rates are going down.
So that's great. So then I guess my other question was, do you see the rates going up?
Oh, no, I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think so, just because we need to better stimulate our economy. And this is what I always tell my earners. If I know what prime rate is going to do, I'd be on the Bahamas drinking out of a coconut. I would not be in the
right?
I do not. That is above my pay grade. I wish I knew, but I don't.
Wish we had a crystal ball.
What I would like, and what I think, just based on what our economy needs, I think it should be, and what it was when I first started, which again, 2019 is not, it's only 5 years ago, so and it was like 7.25 whenever I first started. So I think it's got to go down, fingers crossed. I think it's got to go.
Also too, though, because Al, you're in a different space, in the 500 under space. Don't you feel like, I feel like you're going to see an increase in
I did.
in applications.
Yeah, I think people are going to be excited and maybe start expanding. So that's why they come to us and, have not necessarily that they're expanding and they need an expansion loan, getting another location, but they're expanding their current operations and need working capital.
Well, because definitely, don't you think
let it take this week? I've gotten 3 or 4 in just this week, which the last month I was like, okay, well, I hope this gets a little better.
Corner, y'all. A lot of people were holding off,
and they were getting
So all right, wait. So then
before they proceeded,
So then, small business owners, do you feel like the gates are out and the sun's open, and they're not afraid to take a chance at a business?
Yeah, I do, but it really, I don't want to offend anyone by saying that, but I do feel the most small business owners feel that way. From what I've heard from people. I mean, I try not to get into any type of political conversation with
No,
people.
even you know
I
what?
try
Steph?
not to. But they bring it up, and I stay neutral, but I'm always happy to hear their positivity, or because I hate to hear their fear, you know, and because you feel it for them.
Yeah.
We feel it with them. And so whenever they're feeling fearful, you want to try to reassure them. But to be honest with you, for a while there, we couldn't, because we didn't know what was going to happen either. But I still don't know what's going to happen, but I know they feel more hopeful now. And that makes me happy and feel hopeful too, if
I
my
mean-
borrower is feeling hopeful.
Well, yeah, hopefully we'll have, I think, I have to say for, in recruiting perspective too, talking a little bit off the cuff, 2021 was my best year.
Right.
The rates were low, and so it looks like
What was else? We have the guarantee.
2021 was my best year too.
And the guarantee fee was eliminated for most of the loans. So people were really stimulated at that point to do a lot of business. And then it just kind of dropped from there. I mean, you can look at the numbers from SBA too. It never dropped, but it really was high. That's when it really jumped up high.
yeah, it jumped, and then the rates skyrocketed, right? It's like that trend, and so now you're seeing it. Rates are going down. Borrowers, I definitely agree with you, are not afraid to put themselves out there. Like you said, there's tools for the borrowers to see like what's going to happen, what does it look like, and that's your job, and you guys
Right.
do it really well. Don't you feel a positive switch in our industry?
I totally feel that.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
totally feel that. And it's really great, because I like for all of us to succeed. When we're doing good, everyone does well. It's better for everyone. Like, the whole economy, when small businesses are doing better, they're hiring more people. So more people are employed, and then they raise their employee salaries to keep them when other people are trying to employ them.
Yeah.
So it's a full circle, right? It's
Yeah.
the total economy is built off these small businesses. And when they're hopeful and they're feeling good about the future and the outcomes, it's really nice. It's
Actually,
great for all of us.
it reinvigorates, it's just, I don't know, it's just reinvigorating. I mean, for coming off of, you go into the conferences in Eagle, you don't, everybody has their sides of what they're supposed to say, what they're not supposed to say. But I'm hearing you today, actually, I feel good about what's about to happen. Because, at the conference, I heard left, I heard right, I heard back, forth, whatever. So you both said it. You don't know what's going to happen, but you guys make yourself successful, and that's what separates you. And, gaining success from small business owners that's what you believe in most. And
It is, truly.
you want people to succeed. And I love having you guys on this. And you guys have just been, oh, you're so cute. I just want to squeeze you.
Give the baby.
Where'd he go?
Get the baby. Hold on 1 second. Then you'll
I want to
really.
squeeze him so badly.
Oh my God. He is my sunshine. I have 2 grandchildren.
I know.
Both born within a week of each other.
I remember.
So sweet. They're my reason, to get up in the morning, along with work.
But also though,
isn't
it nice though to kind of like, can we go back for a second? Like working and I said the baby. He's so big. Hi. Am I scaring him? Who's the next SBA lender? This is a good boy.
Oh, I'll be an underwriter.
Wait, he's got the underwriter. He's got the underwriter look. He gets really grumpy sometimes, and we say, and he goes, "No, the loan's declined."
No,
Silas,
No. He doesn't say yes yet.
Yeah, he doesn't say no. A bunch of other words, but not yes. I'll shake his head now.
That's like, look, this is perfect. 3 generations, and actually, it goes back, the work-life balance.
Mhm.
Right? So you guys are allowed to do that. And, Steph, I'm sure you take care of them when
Oh, I can when I can. Yeah, we have help, and then we take care of them.
Yeah, we switch off in a way.
It's not so how is that, Allie, having a young Silas is like he's so young and you know, working, being a working mom and having that work-life balance. Do you feel, you know, you do have a good work-life balance, you know, the different challenges you see?
I mean, I think it's important the company that you work for, and that they understand, you know, that you're. Let me go get them to dad real quick. Just this.
I'll do it.
Okay, perfect. I think it you know, having a company that you work for that's a good company is key and essential. Sorry. It's nap time.
No, hey, look.
And then also scheduling, like knowing my schedule and knowing my child's schedule. So, you know, everybody says like it's important to have a baby on a schedule. Well, it's hard to get them on one, first off. So and then you're going through the struggles of being like me. I'm a first time mom, so it's like, am I doing this right? Is everything, you know? So you go through all of that. So having a company that you work for that is supportive is really essential, and that also not because you need extra support, but just because if they're in your corner, then you want to work and you want to get back to work faster and you want to be part of the team and go back into helping them, you know, do our common goal of making loans. So I'm not saying it's like they need to support you because you need additional help, but it's just like having like a family kind of relationship or motivating you to want to go back to work and knowing that they're there for you.
It's almost like, yeah, it's almost like lending. You can't compare yourself to
Exactly.
everybody is an individual, and you know, you just want to do the best for what you have. And being a mother, being a father, every day is different, and how you handle that work-life balance. I mean, I see it, and like you got like as soon as he showed up, I mean, you lit up. And
Isn't he adorable though? Like I'm
so
so
stinking cute. I can't even. He grew up so cute. I just want to go up. But yes, you could see the, you know, just the energy and everything that you guys do is just in tandem, which I am so jealous. My mom passed away when I was 15, and I miss her every day. And the fact that you guys have this relationship, just, you know, be thankful. And I know, Steph, I mean, every time there's, you know, I have a challenge, I know you've always been there for me. So thank you for that. And I like
but that's what they're for. You know, that's what friends are for. Like, and that's what I think that's what we're put on this earth for, right?
yeah, right.
To be support to each other, right?
Well, I mean, but
We're
you
really lucky that we have each other, and
but
we're
you
lucky.
do that. But you know what, though? I gotta tell you, like, there's still challenges in my 20 years of SBA, and you know, being a woman, you know,
Yes.
doing this, like that's why I wanted to start the podcast. Do you know anybody that has it? I mean, I'm sick of, you know, I didn't want to be in a suit.
Mhm.
You know, you want to make it light, but you know, we got some great information, and you know, you surround yourself with people that, you know, make you look good. So
That's right.
thank you for making me look
Aw.
the way I do.
Really
Thank you so much
appreciate it.
for having us.
Yeah, this has been one of the best. In closing, I just wish that I, you know, going forward, have this relationship with my daughter. If I don't, then I'm just gonna ship her to you, okay?
Oh, you will, honey. Don't worry.
No, I'm gonna ship her to you.
Okay, you're
No,
so
I wasn't the best teenager. Teenagers are a lot of work, you know.
She
So
was naughty.
take it easy.
Easy. Just remember, from about 13, they don't like you anymore until they're about 20.
No, I can't. Hey, how's your day? I get those. And then,
Yeah.
so I just, you know, I don't get any answers. Oh, you talk too much, but whatever, it's fine. But
But we talk a lot, so we're okay with
Yeah.
that.
I hope to get there one day, you know, but
You will.
You will.
I hope so. Guys, you're the best. Thank you for being on my third episode, and hopefully down the road, I'm definitely going to have you guys back on.
All right.
Okay.
Know that.
Happy to be on it.
Love you.
Tell Silas I said hi. I have to get him like a little Dana Company t-shirt, which so I have it. I just have to go to the UPS store.
Oh, the shirt.
Oh, the shirts. Yay. Good.
They actually
We're
want to
excited.
try and get him a onesie, but we'll see. I mean, he also got sweatshirts too, so let me hold off because I think I'm going to send you guys both, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, guys.
You have a good weekend.
If you guys like what you heard this week, please like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you next week. you.